everyone. Today we're going to be going over the 8 phases of gait. We're going to start with heel strike on the left foot. With heel strike at the ankle, the anterior tib is going to be isometrically contracting. The anterior tibialis is innervated by the deep peroneal nerve. At the knee, the quads are going to be eccentrically contracting to kind of cushion the landing. The quads are innervated by the femoral nerve. And then at the hip, your glute max, innervated by the inferior gluteal nerve, will be isometrically contracting to keep the hips neutral. Then the next phase is going to be foot flat. During that phase, the anterior tib will eccentrically control the foot, again, deep peroneal nerve. At the knee, the quads, femoral nerve are going to be eccentrically contracting again. And then at the hip is going to start to extend, so the glute max will be concentrically contracting. And then the next phase is going to be mid stance. So here at the ankle, your gastroc and soleus, innervated by the tibial nerve, will be eccentrically contracting to control so you don't dorsiflex too much. At the knee, nothing will really happen, just momentum brings the knee into extension. And then at glute max in mid stance, the glute max, innervated by the inferior gluteal nerve, is still concentrically contracting to extend the hip. And then you also have the glute med, innervated by the superior gluteal nerve, isometrically contracting, so you don't get hip drop on the other side. And then after mid stance, there's going to be heel off. So here the gastroc and soleus tibial nerve will start concentrically contracting to plantar flex. At the knee, the quads are high on the hamstrings, there's not much going on. There'll just be knee flexion from that gastroc a little. And then at the hip here, your hip flexors, so things like the iliopsoas, rectus femoris, innervated by the femoral nerve, hip flexors are gonna eccentrically slow down the hip extension. So then after heel off, we have toe off. With toe off, again, your gastroc and soleus tibial nerve are going to be plantar flexing. At the knee, nothing much going on there with the quads or hamstrings. And then now is when your hip flexors with the femoral nerve are going to start flexing your hips forward. And then after toe off, then we get into our swing phases. So we have early swing. With early swing, your anterior tib is going to have to start to kick in to dorsiflex. So deep peroneal nerve, concentric contraction of your anterior tib. Again, nothing much going on with the quads and hamstrings. Hip flexors, femoral nerve are going to concentrically keep flexing your hip. Then we'll go to mid swing. I'll scoot back a little. Then we'll go to mid swing. Now your anterior tib is going to be isometrically contracting to keep that neutral dorsiflexion, innervated by the deep peroneal nerve. Still nothing much going on at the quads and hamstrings to have the knee flex. That's just like momentum. And at the hip, we are still going to have a concentric contraction of the hip flexors with the femoral nerve at this point. And then the last phase, the terminal phase, so right before it lands, your anterior tib is going to be isometrically contracting still with the deep peroneal nerve. Now at the knee, your hamstrings are going to actually be eccentrically firing so your tibia doesn't just ram up like this. So it'll be eccentrically contracting, hamstrings innervated by the sciatic nerve. And then now your glute max is also going to kick in and eccentrically contract so that your hip flexion doesn't go crazy, and that's the inferior gluteal nerve. And then you go back to heel strike, and that's the phases of gait.